Today, on Be Something Wonderful, subconscious triggers, how to love them and release them. I am your host, Tom Kieran, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, welcome back. Big video today. I had a great session with a client about triggers, and she binge-watched my videos. And so there was one video where I talked about triggers, and she really had this aha moment. So her question was, how do I stop being triggered? But she really got it. And remember, guys, that the idea of being triggered means that there's a subconscious thought and feeling that's now being brought to your conscious awareness. This is a good thing. Right? So this is really what we got at. And so how do you stop being triggered? Well, stop resisting the thought and feeling and stop calling it a trigger. We really got to this, right? The whole idea that we call it, when you say, how do I stop being triggered? Well, there's no way, because you're creating the idea of being triggered with that question, with that thought. Do you hear this, right? And we're triggered by good thoughts all the time, but we don't call them triggers. We just call them good thoughts, pleasant feelings. Do you hear this? It's that idea that we think there's something hiding out in our subconscious, ready to wreak havoc on our life that we don't have access to, that we don't have control over, right? That's outside of us, that's ruining our life. And none of that's true. Remember, you have dominion over all of it, right? It's simply, a trigger is simply a subconscious or unconscious thought and feeling becoming conscious. That's all it is. Remember, what is conscious thought? It's the thought you're thinking at the moment. Everything else is what? Unconscious, including the feelings that are attached to them, right? That are sort of stuck in your body, right? Don't condemn it, celebrate it, love it. Right? So when you get what you're calling a so-called trigger is something to celebrate, not condemn, not run away from, not try to push back in consciousness, not try to suppress or repress or resist. It's there to let it come up and celebrate it and bring love to it. Remember, when something comes to conscious awareness, what does that really mean? Remember that you are consciousness. You are awareness. And what is that awareness? What is that consciousness? It's life, right? And it's life creating more life. And what is life creating more life? That can only be love, because it's for all life, right? The unity of the whole. One God, one energy, one life. So it's that unconditional love. So when you bring that to conscious awareness, you're bringing it to love. And love dissolves everything unlike itself. And now it's no longer resisted. It's allowed, and you release it. And it's no longer hiding out in the subconscious to pop back up, or you think is hiding out, to pop back up and trigger you to then react to something. Right? Remember, a trigger is just a thought that's being made conscious, and then you react to it. You project it outward on somebody or something in the 3D world. Do you hear this? So instead of condemning it, love it. Say, oh good, another unwanted thought and feeling to release and let go of for good with love. This really gets to the teachings, the core teachings of Lester Levenson, right? The Sedona method, right? He brought all of his subconscious past negative thoughts and feelings to awareness, to love. He loved them all. Right? This is what he did over 3 months. A total release, releasing them. Bring them to awareness and releasing them with love. That's powerful, and you can do that all day long. It's not necessarily about going to bed listening to subliminals. Some of you said, I listen to subliminals, nothing happens. Or I affirm and I affirm and I affirm and nothing happens. It's because you're still resisting them. Right? Bring them to that conscious awareness, dissolve them with love, and then affirm that love. Right? So let's hit this. You remember, you're all powerful, you're all knowing, and you're all present. You're multidimensional, you're an infinite being, right? This is power, right? Omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent. You're not a victim of your conscious mind, subconscious mind. You're never a victim, right? Thought and feeling of being separate from all that is, that's all that you're feeling, right? It's that thought and feeling of being separate, that thought and feeling of limitation. That's what we call ego. That's all ego is. It's a thought and a feeling, right, of being separate and limited, right? Separate from what? Separate from all. Separate from God, separate from all that is, separate from that unity. That's the only thing that is impossible, is separation. Everything else with God, all things are possible. What's impossible is separation from God. Separation from that oneness, that unity. So you're not separate from any of it. And we treat the subconscious like it's separate, like it's outside of us, like we have no control over it. It can trigger us, right? Or events can trigger us that are outside of us, right? Remember that that one impossible thought creates all the thoughts and feelings of lack and limitation. That one impossible thought that you can be separate, that you can be limited, that you're a victim of the subconscious mind, that creates all thoughts of lack and limitation. That's really what negative thoughts and feelings are, right? They don't really exist. They are illusions, because you're all love. But, and you're just source energy. That love is source energy. But when you put that source energy through thoughts and filters of negative assumptions and beliefs, that's what you come up with. And then we store them back down. We have experiences that we judge or label as negative. And then that experience is then stored. That emotion, that experience, that thought. And then it's triggered by some other event that comes up, quote, triggered when you see something else that happens in 3D. Bring it all to love, bring it all to that light, right? So it's about bringing the conscious awareness, all thoughts and feelings, allowing all of it, and letting go that is not who you really are. All that, let go all that is not who you really are. Negative thoughts of fear, lack, and limitation are not who you really are, right? Bring it to that love, awareness, love them, and then release them, because they're not who you really are. You are a fully realized, enlightened being having a dream that you're not, right? Waking up is remembering that it's all just a dream, just like in a night dream. When you wake up in the morning and realize that all that drama and trauma was just a dream, that you are not that person in that dream, you are not all that drama and trauma, then you wake up, you realize that's all what being an enlightened being is. You already are that, right? You're just having a dream. This is Lester Levenson. This is what he says. We are fully realized beings saying that we are not. I love this. So all we have to do is let go of we are not. And what is left over is the fully realized and free being that we are. Just let it go of that not enoughness, of what you are not. That those thoughts of limitations, that's what you want to let go of. You're hanging on to I am not, right? We're hanging on to I am this I am notness. This not enoughness, right? Let go of that and then you're free. You're freely realized, right? So unwanted subconscious programs that my client was asking about, what are they really? Well, they're simply all those thoughts and feelings in their past. And we know there's no past, present, and future. But in terms of if you're not thinking of them right now, then they're in the subconscious, quote, past, right? But that you don't want to look at them, though. All that not enoughness, that's triggers. All of those subconscious programs, that's all they are. They're not even programs, right? They're just all those thoughts and feelings that you don't want to look at. Right? What you call triggers. Remember, you are awareness, you are beingness, you are divine consciousness, which is all life. And what is all life must be love, which I was just talking about, right? So when you bring anything to conscious awareness, you're bringing it to love. Love can only be love, and therefore you transform any subconscious negativity into love. Do you hear this? Love has no choice but to be love. Love is love. It's all powerful. So when you bring these quote triggers or these subconscious beliefs to awareness, you're bringing them to love. And love can only be love. So if you bring it to love, it must transform into love. That's powerful. This is the teachings of Lester Levenson, really, right? This is the pillar of the teachings of Lester in the Sedona method, right? So you come from and are made of divine love. That's why you feel a negative sensation that manifests into a negative reaction and you are triggered. Do you hear it? If you are only love, you're made of it, and your awareness, and you're that pure love, well, then that's why you feel that negative sensation that manifests into a negative reaction that you call a trigger, that you call being triggered. That's why it feels so bad, right? A trigger is a reminder of who you are not. Hear this. That's all a trigger is. It's reminding, oh, good, I'm not this. That's what that should be. That's why it feels so bad, because it's not you. It's a limiting, unloving thought and feeling, right? But you identify with it as something you are, as limited, separate, not enough. As a limited, separate, not enough being. You identify with those, and then you react to them, to the 3D conditions, the people in the 3D conditions, versus allowing them, loving them, and then releasing them. Allowing them, loving them, and then releasing them. That's powerful. So the final question that everyone must answer is simple, is also simple. What am I? Lester Levenson asked this question. What am I? And when you have contrary thoughts that come up, then you ask, well, to whom do those thoughts belong to? Me. Okay, who am I then? He keeps pointing back to this question. This is really the question that Jesus asked. Remember, you are not your conscious and subconscious thoughts and feelings. Rather, you're the awareness, the love, the consciousness that experiences them. You're not those thoughts and feelings. You're the awareness that experiences them, that has the experience of those thoughts and feelings that come on that screen that you are. That pure positive love, right? You are the dreamer who dreams them. And just like a night dream, when you wake up, you realize or remember it's just a dream. And who you really are is not affected. Who you really are is not stained, is not affected in any way by any of all that drama and trauma that was going on in your dream. That's big. Lester asked the same question as Jesus, right? As Jesus. Your I am, remember, Jesus represents your I am awareness, right? But what about you, Jesus asked, right? Pressing his disciples when he asked them, who do you say the Son of God is? And they came up with all these, like John the Baptist, some say Elijah, Jeremiah, one of the prophets. Remember, they're referencing all of these sort of dead prophets, right? and what do those dead prophets represent? They represent your subconscious thoughts and feelings, right? So they're referencing those subconscious thoughts and feelings. Well, maybe you're this thought, maybe you're this feeling, right? And then Jesus presses them, but who do you say I am? Jesus asked. Who do you say I am? Jesus pressed them. After the disciples answered, who do you say I am? And then finally Peter answers, you are Christ, the Son of the living God. You're not those subconscious thoughts and feelings. In other words, you're not John the Baptist, Elijah, Jeremiah, or other prophets. You are Christ, the Son of the living God. You are that I amness. You are that pureness. You're none of that, those triggers or anything else. That's what we're talking about. That's how to release them. Allow them, love them, and release them, right? Subconscious triggers, how to love and release them. I am your host, Tom Kieran, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing the video. Thank you for liking the video. Thank you for being a part of the channel. Thank you for considering joining the membership channel, which is our other subscription channel. And be sure to visit our Facebook. We have a Facebook group called the Be Something Wonderful Ambassadors at facebook.com/groups/Be Something Wonderful. That's an open group to you. You can also visit our Instagram and Twitter at Tom Kieran, or just go to our website anytime at tomkieran.com or besomethingwonderful.com. Creators, with great love, with great light, and infinite gratitude, this is Tom. See you soon.